Greetings, my friends, and welcome to my series about Elden Ring lore and theories. First of all, excuse my bad English. Second, yes, these videos come late, very late, and the next one will probably take months, but I have a lot on my plate and other games I want to play before I return to Elden Ring. But I have a lot on my mind when it comes to Elden Ring lore lately, and I want to get it out of my mind, hence this video. And third, yes, as always, there will be no video editing. Now let's get right into it, shall we? First of all, I want to talk about existing theories, because there are a lot, and most of them I really don't like. The reason for that is they don't start at the beginning. They don't get their orders straight, right? They just pick anything and theorize, and then they come up with the wildest ideas about the past and like motives for some people doing some things, and I don't know, it feels weird, alright? You can talk about all kinds of stuff, right? Just for some examples, when in the intro, the game tells you about Marikas' offspring, they show Ranni, implying that Ranni is indeed Marikas' offspring from the beginning, right? She is an Empyrean because when Radagon had children with Renala, he already was one with Marika, right? You could take this as implied. You can go as far as say when Solaire in Dark Souls 1 says that worlds need to be close to each other so you could summon each other. The lands between are exactly there, between worlds, right? The place between worlds in Dark Souls 1 is the lands between. And Yuria, the seemingly imaginary friend of the merchant in Dark Souls 1, is indeed the greater will that rules about the lands between. I don't know, as long as you can't be proven wrong, right, everything goes, more or less. I mean, look at the opening credit, the intro from Elden Ring again, and you will see that the lowly tarnished, with no renown, that is revived through the grace, stands in a place that is shockingly similar to the the Erdtree at the end. Even the big giant gate is there. Like, maybe we started there. Maybe the Erdtree gave birth to us and we were there at the beginning. Maybe we are of no renown because the Erdtree gave birth to us. Maybe we are the son of the previous Empyrean dusk-eyed whatever. You know, you can say millions of things about millions of things, but I don't think that that is the correct way to engage a theory, to engage the lore, and that has a specific reason. FromSoft had always a specific way of telling story in Dark Souls and in Elden Ring as well. They take a complete world and shatter it to the point where connections are barely any left. You know what I mean. We then start to make connections based on the slightest hints. Like everyone thought Solaire was the son of Gwyn, which then turned out to be not exactly right. The way I believe you have to make theories in Elden Ring is this. You have to find out what the game actually tells you and what you only think the game tells you. Marika was the vessel, or is the vessel for the greater will. That is a fact, alright? Everything else might just be a theory that you came up with. Of course, everything is somehow connected. That doesn't mean that every connection means everything, anything, or whatever. So, and here is a very important tool that I will use to talk about my theory. And that tool is a certain limit. Never, not even once, did From Software cross a certain limit. They never slapped information in our face without slapping the fact that that information was false in our face as well. Here's what I mean. if Yura talks about Eleonora and we find Eleonora turns out to be exactly as Yura told us she is. If Nifli Lu talks about Gideon, Gideon tells us the things that Nifli got wrong, right? The game tells you sometimes false information, but that is very rare through a character specifically, and if it happens, it is always blatantly obvious that it's false. For example, Solaire in Dark Souls 1, thinking he found his son, obviously went mad and hollow. You can't miss that fact. Every time a character in Dark Souls or Elden Ring tells you something, it is either right or blatantly obviously wrong. And this is something we will base our theories off, because I believe if you only put those clues together, you will find the ultimate correct answer and everything else will fall into place accordingly. That is why we will start at the beginning. And I don't mean the shattering. I don't mean Ranni and her betrayal. I mean Queen Marika. Now, we could talk about appearance, but obviously the Empyreans need to be of certain qualifications and then be chosen, right? You are not born as an Empyrean. The Greater Will and Outer Gods can't just choose any Empyrean. You need to be of certain qualifications and then you can be chosen. We don't know what qualifications that are, but that is how it is. Now, Marika was chosen as an Empyrean. She was chosen to rule over the lands between. And that was great. She liked that. And why do we know that she liked that? Because when she altered the Golden Order to her liking, the only thing she changed is that she removed death. She wanted eternal life for everybody. That is all she changed. She is and ever was on the side of the Greater Will, except for that one single thing. I know many people believe nowadays that she instigated all of this. She shattered the Elden Ring so Tarnished would come and cleanse her from the outer will, the outer being, the Greater Will, and she actually cooperated with Ranni to murder her son, but that is not true. It doesn't make as much sense, and it is not as proven as the thing I'm gonna tell you. So, listen carefully. Marika, as queen, had it all, right? She had a family, she was ruling, she was dominating all over the place. But she would die one day, and she didn't want that. So, she altered the Elden Ring. She did it successfully. Death was removed. And when she was added, that, once again, only a theory at this point, but when she was added, I believe that her other part, Radagon, took away the rune of rebirth, while rebirth wasn't necessary anymore when it comes to death, and that's how he got it, and that's why, I mean, that's how he was able to gift it to Renala, but that's only a theory, okay? That's a theory. But the thing is, Marika changed the Golden Order into something that the Outer God, the Greater Will, never actually wanted. It is a fact that roots and trees sprout from death in this game. Death sets energy free, and that is a good thing. So many people dying, as well as many people being born, is important for the Greater Will, important for the Golden Order. Marika defied that. Now everyone is immortal, no one dies, no one really gets born anymore, and the most problematic thing about that is no one dies. Of course you could die. Of course you could sustain the Greater Will, right? It could be still there. You could still die. You would be reborn, recreated somehow at a grace, but tell a bunch of immortals in a peaceful world that they have to die all day. They wouldn't want that. No one would want that. So Marika fucked up. She realized, oh my god, I have a problem now. We have a peaceful world with no war and no one dies anymore, which is problematic for the outer god and the greater will. I will say greater will from now on. What am I gonna do? What can I even do? So Marika had to think, right? What would be the next best solution? She wanted to live eternally, right? She wanted to continue to live for eternity. But what could she do, right? She was already pissing off the greater will, as proven by the fact that other people were chosen as Empyrean. I mean, honestly, the rotting Melania, the very problematic Michaela, and Rani were chosen to replace her. I mean, come on, not the best options for the greater will, to be honest, but no matter what, the greater will wanted to replace Marika. The reason for that is that Marika altered and tampered with the Golden Order, removing death and rebirth, which was not supposed to happen. But Marika came up with a different solution. Marika didn't want it to be succeeded. She wanted to rule and live forever. So she indeed had a plan. She thought about the shattering. What if Marika would shatter the Elden Ring into pieces? Pieces of pure power. And then people would fight about it. All day, all night, continuously, over and over and over again. She was certain that would be a battle that would go on forever. Eternal struggle, eternal death. It would be perfect. Well, I mean, perfect except the fact that no one really dies for real, no one gets reborn for real, but it was the next best thing. And, well, while it was not really what the Golden Order, the Greater Will, wanted, they kept Marika as vassal because they lacked the alternative. Now, Radagon. I mean, many people are confused about Radagon, right? Not about how he came to be and when exactly he united with Marika. Even I wouldn't go as far as to say that I exactly know it, although I am sure and rather certain that he was united with Marika before he gave birth to Rani, but that's a different thing. Radagon, the question many people have about Radagon is, why did he try to repair the Elden Ring, and why did he seal off the Erd Tree? If it was Marika's plan all along to get tarnished all the way up to the Erd Tree to cleanse her from the being, which, like I said, I think is not what she wanted, why would he seal it off? And the Elden, the Greater Will, obviously also wanted Tarnish to come there. So Radagon didn't seem to be on anyone's side, right? Radagon was like, For many people that make theories, Radagon's actions were like, doesn't seem to be on either side, right? No, not on Marikas and not on the side of the Greater Will. But here's the thing. Let's talk about many things that happened very fast, right? Marika was there, standing there, and still was perfectly fine with the world, right? She was like, hey, yeah, this is great. Ooh. Everything is perfect. And then she heard, oh my god, Michaela, Melania, Rani, they are Empyrean. They are supposed to replace me. What am I gonna do? And she came up with the idea of the shattering. She once tampered with the Elden Ring already. It wasn't a big deal, right? She would do it again. No problem, right? Now here's the thing. Back then, when she tampered with the Elden Ring, the outer god, the greater will, didn't do anything about it because they had no alternative. She surprised them, she just pulled through, and that's it, right? But now, this time, it was different. There were alternatives. Ronnie was there, and Michaela and Melania were there. So the greater will was like, I'm not gonna let you fuck with my Elden Ring anymore. So Marika was like, let's think this through. Carefully, she wasn't stupid. Obviously she wasn't stupid. But then Ronnie did her thing and killed Godwin. And Marika was like, oh, I have a problem now. Because although Ronnie doesn't want to succeed me, obviously, she will bring death to the lands. And that is a problem because we don't have rebirth. And at the end, Ronnie still wants to kill me. So I have to do something now. And the only option was the shattering. So Marika took her plan and made it into reality. I don't know how to say it in English any better. She shattered the Elden Ring. It was not her intention to completely shatter it. It was not her intention to, like, split it completely. It was not her intention to be imprisoned. It was her intention to spread enough of the Elden Ring in the outside to create eternal warfare. That was her intention. And that's why Radagon tried to repair the Elden Ring. She shattered it and tampered with it, and Radagon's part was to repair it. And he failed miserably. We don't know why, right? I mean, they both seem to have tampered with the Elden Ring before, otherwise it wouldn't really make any sense why Radagon would have the Rune of Rebirth, but Radagon failed. Maybe he failed because he failed. Maybe he failed because the Greater Will intervened with their plans. We don't know. But fact is, he failed in repairing the Elden Ring. And now they were there. The Elden Ring shattered. The Greater Will enraged, furious at them, right? And he was like, what am I gonna do? We, Marika and me, will get replaced at this, right? At this speed. This won't end good for us. So he did what he could. And that was to create a stalemate, right? He sealed off the Elden Tree. The Earth Tree. No one could enter. Forcing something to happen at some point. Because no matter how many great runes you collect, without the power of Radagon you wouldn't be able to enter, like we know, unless you burn the Earth Tree, which was something the Greater Will wouldn't want to happen. Now, we don't know if Marika or the Greater Will brought back the Tarnished. I believe it was the Greater Will. The Greater Will wanted to cut off the stalemate, is what many people think. But actually that's not true. The Greater Will had a big problem at hands, right? People were constantly dying, but you don't have that many people, right? And as you can see through the lines between, eternal life doesn't necessarily mean eternal life. Some people really do stay dead, and the population is, although slowly, decreasing. Through various reasons. Mutations, for example, when they become one with plants. You know what I mean. So, what did the Greater Will do? They brought back Tarnished. Plenty of them. And now they are walking through the lands, fighting, dying, fighting, dying. More death, more death. That is the reason why the Greater Will doesn't answer when we ask them through the finger reader why we can't enter the Earth Tree, because the Greater Will already knew that. They wouldn't tell you shit. You were never supposed to enter the Erdtree because you are a tarnished. You were fallen out of grace. You are not supposed to become Elden Lord. You are supposed to fight, to struggle, to die endlessly, eternally. That was the original plan of Marikas as well. She wanted eternal war. Warfare forever. Because that way, none of her successors would be able to claim what was hers. Her plan was to make herself the only option for the greater will, to force the greater will into her kind of golden order. She presented a world of eternal warfare to the greater will, and was saying, here, look, you can't send anyone in the Erdtree because Radagon, I, sealed it off, unless they burn it down. You can't do shit. You can't replace me now. So you have to choose me at the end. That is how it is. Marikas' plan was perfect, honestly. Now, why do I think that was Marikas' plan? Simple. We all know Marika shattered the Elden Ring. The question is, why did she do it? And the theories out there are, she was grieving for her son, she was planning this with Ranni to get rid of the greater will, or third, she was doing it to create eternal warfare, to get rid of her potential successors, right? Good, her plan failed somehow, somewhat, I don't know why, maybe because of her grief for her dead son, I don't know, I don't care honestly. But those are the three theories I know of, while the third one is my own one. And why do I think that I am right? That is because the great and only Gideon Ofnir, the all-knowing, tells us that. The one that studied more than any lore researcher out there. The one that knows it all tells us in our face that is Marikas' plan. She doesn't want us to become Elden Lord. And by us, he doesn't mean the Tarnished, he means everyone. She doesn't want anyone to succeed her or Radagon. She wants us to struggle for eternity, to force eternal life on Golden Order. She wants the Outer God to surrender and give her her version of the Golden Order forever. A Golden Order which would perfectly fit with what Gideon Ofnir wants. Because he wants knowledge for eternity. He doesn't want to die. He would take eternal life every time. Sure, that's why he is defending Marika. He doesn't want us to become Elden Lord. He wants this eternal struggle to continue to further be able to collect knowledge. Now, we don't exactly now know for sure that he is right. But like I said, if he would be wrong, the game would slap it into our face. And although he says that no Tarnished can become Elden Lord for real, it is somewhat true. When we think about the endings we create, we are never a real Elden Lord in the original sense, right? We don't become Marika's husband. Not really, my friends. So, why do I think that is all true? You know, like always, proof is hard to find. But there is this. Mending Rune of Perfect Order. The current imperfection of the Golden Order or instability of ideology can be blamed upon the fickleness of the gods no better than man. That is the fly in the ointment. I don't know if I read that correctly, but you get the gist of it, right? The gods were imperfect. I don't know if Radagon was ever supposed to be one with Marika. Maybe they were able to mend the Elden Ring because two people would act at the same time, like destroying and repairing, for example. Right? Maybe that's how they got rid of death in the first place. I don't know. And like I said, only a theory, but the perfect golden order would be the perfect version that the greater will initially wanted to have. And that would be an endless circle of death and rebirth. Not what Marika wanted. This rune here, right here, tells us that the Golden Order, the current Golden Order with immortality and endless warfare, is imperfect and not what was initially planned. Marika's version went against the greater will. And that tells us what I just told you. You get what I mean, right? It is hard for me to tell this in English, but I wanted to do this in English. So there we are. I believe that Marika's plan was to rule over this land while eternal warfare takes place. Probably she was like, whoever gets all runes gets to succeed me. She probably wanted to pull a few runes out of the Elden Ring with Radagon's help, and then she would sit there and be like, I am the queen, but whoever gets everything can replace me. And then eternal warfare would break out, and yeah, well, she would rule somewhat, and that's just it. That would be her version of, well, at least I can live forever and be in my small kingdom. I mean, honestly, I don't think that as soon as the idea came to her mind, she put it into practice. I think she was pressured by Ranni when she set her plans into motion, but that also is just an assumption on my side. Yeah, but if we take that the fact into consideration that From Software never lied to us in that regard without telling us that they lied to us in storytelling in Souls-like games, I think we can trust Gideon. I think we should believe him when he says that Marika wants us to struggle and fight for eternity. And if we take that into consideration, many other theories make more or less sense now. And we could build a true what happened, why happened it, in right now we can build a true world building out of it that would make the most sense, that would seem like the world that they wanted us to see. Right? Because I don't think that the incredibly deep diving that some people do for lore, like they draw connections that are like, oh my god, how far is that? You get what I mean. I don't think they wanted us to do that. The clues are there right in front of our eyes. Gideon slaps them into our face. So yeah, that's it. When we think about the future, like, I don't know, the next thing I would want to think about would probably be a time frame. I would want to research more about Malekith so that I get an exact order when happened what, logically speaking, when exactly did which war take place. For example, I think I hear that the war against the giants was the last war they fought. And when exactly did Renala, did Marika banish Horalu? All those things, that would be probably the next thing I would want to do. A timeline so I could further prove that Radagon is on Marika's side, and further prove that Yeah, that would be the next thing to do. Anyhow, half an hour, whew, but I finally got all my thoughts out of my head, and I don't want to redo this video because it's already so long, and yes, paint was totally useful, as I can see, as you can see. I did a lot with paint. Nice. Let's oh, I clicked somewhere. I don't have fun, guys, and see you in a few months when I do the timeline.